Welcome to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries. What if everything you've been taught about your genes, those microscopic blueprints inherited from your parents, was only half the truth? What if your DNA wasn't a life sentence, but rather a dynamic script you could edit, rewrite, and evolve through the power of your choices? For centuries, we believed that our genetic code was a rigid destiny carved into the stone of biology. If your parents struggled with obesity, depression, heart disease, or cancer, it was widely assumed you would too, but science is now tearing down those walls of fatalism, revealing a revolutionary truth. Your genes are listening to you. They respond to your thoughts, your habits, your emotions, and even your beliefs. The field of epigenetics is rewriting the story of what it means to be human, and you are the author. Welcome to a new era of possibility. In Super Genes, world-renowned mind-body pioneer Deepak Chopra teams up with Harvard geneticist Dr. Rudolf Tanzi to bring you a life-altering message. You have the power to influence your genes and transform your health. Starting now, this isn't science fiction. This is science fact, backed by cutting-edge research and proven by thousands of people who have already embraced their genetic potential. Imagine waking up with more energy, greater mental clarity, emotional balance, and resilience to disease. Not because of some magic pill or elite genetics, but because you chose to live with intention. Imagine that every step you take, every meal you eat, every breath you breathe, and every thought you think can awaken dormant, healing mechanisms inside your very cells. You are not a prisoner of your heredity. You are the master of your biological destiny. This book is your map to freedom. It is your invitation to reclaim the narrative of your health and well-being, to rise above limitation, and to activate the extraordinary force lying dormant within you. So turn the page, not just to read a book, but to begin a transformation, one that will ripple through your body, your mind, and your life, because your super genes are waiting and the future of your health begins now. Part 1. The Genetic Revolution. You are not your genes. Imagine being told your DNA is not your destiny, that the genes you inherited from your parents don't dictate your future, but respond to the choices you make every single day. Welcome to the world of super genes, where biology bends to belief, where science meets self-empowerment, and where the future of your health lies not in your genes, but in your hands. Chapter 1. The Myth of Genetic Determinism. For decades, we believed genes were a life sentence. You got your mother's anxiety, your father's diabetes, your grandfather's heart disease, and that was that. But Chopra and Tanzi blow this myth wide open. They introduce a paradigm-shifting truth. Your genes are dynamic. They are not fixed scripts, but fluid, reactive, and capable of change. This is thanks to a field called epigenetics, the study of how environmental factors affect gene expression. Genes can be turned on or off, dimmed or amplified, depending on your lifestyle, emotions, diet, and thoughts. Here's the kicker. Less than 5% of disease-related gene mutations are fully penetrant, meaning almost all other conditions we associate with bad genes can be avoided or influenced. You are not a prisoner of your DNA. You are its master key. Big idea. You are born with a genetic blueprint, but you're the architect that decides how it's read. Chapter 2. Meet the super genome. What makes your genome super? It's the interplay between 3 layers. 1. Your genome, the complete set of genes you were born with. 2. Your epigenome, the chemical switches that regulate how genes behave. 3. Your microbiome, the ecosystem of bacteria in your body, especially your gut, influencing digestion, immunity, and even your mood. When Chopra and Tanzi refer to super genes, they're not talking about genetic mutation or evolution. They're talking about harnessing this trio to live longer, healthier, and happier. And here's a fascinating insight. Your microbiome can actually change your epigenome, which in turn changes how your genome behaves. This triangle of influence means your breakfast, your thoughts, your stress levels, your sleep, they all have genetic impact. Memorable analogy. Think of your genome as a piano. The epigenome is the pianist. The microbiome is the mood of the room. Changing how the pianist plays, you are the composer who selects the music. Chapter 3. Conscious Choice and Biological Change. So, how do we unlock the power of super genes? Through conscious lifestyle choices. This is the first book that doesn't just preach eat healthy, sleep well, exercise. It tells you why these things matter on a cellular level. Meditating for just 15 minutes a day has been shown to change gene expression related to stress and inflammation. Positive emotions activate genes linked to immune function and longevity. A single night of poor sleep can trigger genetic disruptions that impact metabolism and memory. The authors want us to realize every moment is a genetic intervention. The way you respond to a rude coworker, the way you nourish your body, the way you walk in nature or breathe deeply, it's not fluff, it's real science. It's how your biology evolves with you. Takeaway: every habit you adopt or abandon rewrites your health story at the genetic level. Chapter 4: You have the power. Here's why it matters. Let's pause and ask the deeper question. Why does this matter so much now? Because the modern world is full of toxic influences that switch on the wrong genes: stress, processed food, pollution, sedentary lifestyles, and digital overload. Chopra and Tansey reveal that we're living in a time of genetic crisis, but also of unprecedented opportunity. If we can embrace this knowledge, we could prevent Alzheimer's, cancer, obesity, heart disease, mood disorders. In fact, many of these diseases are now considered epigenetic illnesses, not genetic ones. That means they stem from how our genes are treated, not what genes we have. Bottom line, super genes flips the script. The question is no longer what genes do I have, but what choices am I making today? Part 2: 6 lifestyle levers that rewire your DNA. You've learned that your genes don't control you. You influence them, but how exactly do you flip the right switches? Imagine 6 powerful dials you can turn every single day to optimize your body, mind, and future. In this part, we break down the 6 core lifestyle choices that unlock your super genes and start turning potential into power. Chapter 5: The 6 pillars of genetic wellness. Chopra and Tansey introduce 6 lifestyle levers that directly shape your gene expression. 1. Diet. 2. Exercise. 3. Sleep. 4. Stress management. 5. Emotions. 6. Lifestyle choices, social connections, habits, environment. Each of these isn't just a nice to have. They're biological messengers. Think of them like emails to your DNA. Every bite of food, every step, every emotion you feel sends a message that activates or deactivates thousands of genes. Chapter 6: Diet, the food gene conversation. Let's start with food. You don't just eat for calories, you eat to communicate with your genes. Food is not just fuel, it's information. Chopra and Tansey: here's the science-backed deal. Certain foods activate genes that fight disease, e.g., antioxidants, fiber-rich veggies, omega-3s. Others trigger genes linked to inflammation and aging, e.g., processed sugars, red meats, artificial additives. Superfood DNA boosters include blueberries boost cognitive function genes, leafy greens support detoxification genes, turmeric anti-inflammatory gene expression, green tea longevity-linked gene pathways. The authors recommend a mostly plant-based, whole foods diet with minimal sugar and processed junk. But instead of preaching perfection, they offer levels of commitment: minimal, moderate, and intense. This makes transformation feel achievable, not overwhelming. Bottom line, your fork is a genetic switch. Use it wisely. Chapter 7: Movement, exercise that talks to your cells. Exercise doesn't just sculpt muscles. It reprograms genes related to energy, metabolism, and disease resistance. Here's what happens at the DNA level. Exercise activates genes for fat burning. It boosts neuroplasticity, genes that sharpen memory. It reduces epigenetic markers of aging. Even light physical activity, like walking or yoga, alters gene expression for the better. You don't need a six-pack to be genetically fit. The goal is consistency, not intensity. Every step you take is like pressing a keyboard that sends instructions to your DNA. Chopra and Tansey encourage you to move your body daily, not as punishment, but as a genetic blessing. Chapter 8: Sleep, the night shift your genes crave. Sleep isn't lazy, it's biologically sacred. During sleep, your body undergoes epigenetic repair. Poor sleep affects over 700 genes, many of which are linked to immune dysfunction, mood disorders, insulin resistance, aging. But quality sleep turns on the good guys: DNA repair genes, brain detox genes, growth and recovery genes. Tips for super gene sleep. Stick to a consistent bedtime. Keep your room cool and dark. Unplug from screens at least 30 minutes before bed. Meditate or breathe deeply before sleeping. The best anti-aging formula isn't in a cream, it's in a good night's sleep. Chapter 9. Stress, the silent genetic saboteur. If food is information for your DNA, stress is static. Chronic stress flips on genes related to inflammation, depression, autoimmune diseases, obesity. But here's the empowering twist. The antidote is free and internal. Regular mindfulness, meditation, breath work, and gratitude change gene expression in as little as 8 weeks. Studies show meditators express genes for reduced inflammation and increased resilience. The authors encourage mind-body practices that lower cortisol and soothe. The epigenome. Your body listens to your mind. Change your story, and you change your biology. Chapter 10. Emotions and environment, the social side of DNA. Even your relationships influence your genes. Positive emotions like love, joy, and gratitude upregulate genes linked to immunity and well-being. Negative ones like loneliness or anger do the opposite. That's why connection, compassion, and community matter on a cellular level. Plus, your physical environment, nature, noise, light, air quality, all impact gene activity. One study even found that living near greenery reduced genetic risk for depression. Your surroundings aren't neutral. They're either nurturing or damaging your DNA. The takeaway: curate your inner and outer worlds. Be mindful of what you expose your body and mind to every day. Part 3. The Mind-Body Code. Rewiring your brain. Reclaiming your future. What if your thoughts, your beliefs, even your imagination could change your genes? What if the way you think about aging could either speed it up or slow it down? In this part, Chopra and Tansey take us into the command center of our biology, the brain, and what they reveal will change the way you see your mind, your body, and your future. Chapter 11. The brain as a genetic conductor. The brain isn't just the organ that holds your thoughts, it's a powerful signal tower, constantly sending out instructions that affect gene activity. Every emotion, every belief, every intention sparks a cascade of biological responses. Here's what science shows. When you feel anxious, stress genes are triggered. When you feel calm, genes related to healing and regeneration turn on. When you focus your attention, neuroplasticity genes, those linked to learning and growth, light up like fireworks. Your brain is the CEO of your genes, but your mind, the part that chooses, is the board of directors. This is the secret Chopra and Tansey want us to grasp. You don't just have a brain. You use your brain to shape your body. Consciousness influences biology. Chapter 12. Rewriting the story of aging. We've been sold a lie about aging, that it's an inevitable decline into decay, but according to supergenes, aging is more a product of genetic expression than genetic fate, and most importantly, it's highly modifiable. Here's what they found. People who believe aging is decline tend to age faster. People with positive beliefs about aging show longer telomeres, the protective caps on DNA, which are markers of youthfulness and vitality. Lifestyle interventions can reverse epigenetic markers of aging. Even in your 60s and 70s, aging is not the enemy. It's a message system, and your daily choices help determine whether it's sending out distress signals or messages of renewal. Practical takeaway: reframe aging from something to fear to something to engage with consciously. The more you respect and care for your body, the more gracefully it responds. Chapter 13. Alzheimer's, the brain, and super gene protection. This chapter is deeply personal for co-author Dr. Rudolf Tansey, one of the world's leading researchers on Alzheimer's disease. Tansey shares a game-changing insight. Only 5% of Alzheimer's cases are purely genetic, the remaining 95% heavily influenced by lifestyle and epigenetics. This is massive. What this means is that the majority of us have the power to reduce or delay our risk, sometimes by decades, through very accessible choices: anti-inflammatory diets, daily physical activity, mental stimulation, stress reduction, loving relationships. These activities switch on genes that protect the brain's neurons and reduce the buildup of amyloid plaques, which are linked to Alzheimer's. Shocking stat: Inflammation is now seen as the primary modifiable risk factor for Alzheimer's, and it's directly influenced by how you eat, move, and manage stress. Chopra and Tanzi offer a brain health blueprint that isn't just preventative, it's empowering instead of fearing cognitive decline. We can build a brain that thrives with age. Chapter 14: Mindfulness and Meditation as Genetic Medicine. We've touched on meditation in earlier chapters, but here the authors dive deeper into its epigenetic power. Scientific studies now confirm that meditation reduces the expression of pro-inflammatory genes, enhances genes related to telomere maintenance, regulates cortisol production, boosts dopamine and serotonin levels, improving mood and focus. And all of this can happen in as little as 8 weeks of consistent practice. But here's what sets Chopra and Tanzi apart. They see meditation not just as a stress relief tool, but as a genetic upgrade strategy. They recommend primordial sound meditation, a mantra-based practice Chopra teaches, mindful breathing for 10 to 20 minutes a day, compassion-focused visualization, which activates genes related to empathy and social bonding. Meditation is like software that updates your biological hardware. Chapter 15: Beliefs, Intention, and the Biology of Possibility. One of the boldest claims in the book is this: belief changes biology. Chopra and Tanzi present studies that show placebo effects change gene expression. People who believe they're exercising, even when they aren't, can lose weight and improve blood pressure. Visualization techniques can stimulate physical healing and even boost immune markers. Why? Because the brain responds to perceived experience, not just physical reality. That means your beliefs become biological instructions. Here's the deeper truth. Your mind is not a passive passenger. It's the driver of your biological future. When you believe in your ability to change, your genes listen. Part 4: Becoming the Architect of Your Biology and Legacy. Imagine waking up every morning knowing that your smallest action, your first breath, your breakfast choice, your first thought, is sending instructions to trillions of cells. That's the power you've always had. In this final part, Chopra and Tanzi help you step fully into that power, crafting a life that activates your super genes, not just for you, but for generations to come. Chapter 16: The Lifestyle Reboot, Building a Super Gene Life. This chapter is like the blueprint to everything we've covered, distilled into a realistic, doable lifestyle model. The authors know that change is overwhelming, so they offer a 3-tier system that meets you wherever you are. Minimal, great for beginners or busy people, focuses on small, sustainable shifts like adding 1 veggie per meal. 5-minute meditation still leads to measurable gene changes. Moderate, a little more intentional and structured, includes regular exercise, improved sleep hygiene, and reducing processed food, strengthens your positive gene expression baseline. Intense, for those ready to optimize their full genetic potential, includes daily meditation, clean eating, deep emotional work, detoxing environments, and purpose-driven living. Acts almost like a total epigenetic upgrade. Your genes adapt to your level of commitment. The more you give, the more they give back. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent and intentional. Chapter 17: Your Genetic Legacy, Influencing the Future. Here comes one of the most profound insights in the entire book. Your choices don't just affect you, they ripple forward into the future. Through the science of transgenerational epigenetics, researchers have discovered that trauma, stress, nutrition, and even belief systems can alter the epigenetic tags passed down to children and grandchildren. These changes affect emotional resilience, immunity, and disease vulnerability. This means your healing becomes part of your family's inheritance. If you meditate today, eat clean today, forgive someone today, it's not just for your wellness. You're clearing the path for the ones who come after you. You're not just the recipient of a genetic script, you're the co-author of a new one. It's an empowering call to not only take responsibility, but to take pride in becoming a transformational ancestor. Chapter 18: The Healing Code, Intention, Awareness, and Wholeness. Chopra and Tanzi close the book with a spiritual truth wrapped in science. The real healing code is consciousness itself. Everything we've talked about, Genes, food, movement, thoughts are expressions of your awareness. When that awareness is fragmented, chaotic, or distracted, the body follows. But when awareness becomes whole, focused, intentional, compassionate, your body becomes a place of healing. Here's what they suggest to keep your inner healing system online. Daily meditation to access stillness and clarity. Gratitude journaling to shift your emotional gene expression. Acts of service to boost empathy and social bonding genes. Time in nature to reconnect with natural biological rhythms. When you live in tune with your deepest self, your body listens and your genes begin to sing. Final thoughts. You are the medicine. If you take away one message from Super Genes, let it be this. You are not a prisoner of your DNA. You are the master of your biological future. Chopra and Tansy leave us with a final invitation, not to control our biology like machines, but to partner with it like a wise and sacred intelligence. Every day becomes a chance to rewire your past, rebuild your present, reshape your future, rewrite your family's legacy. Your genes are listening, your body is adapting, your potential is awakening. So ask yourself, what kind of message am I sending today? Read the book to learn more. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz reviews and summaries.